Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Thomas and Friends Home Media Reviews. I have two answers to two of your most burning questions. What are we covering this week? Obviously, it's Thomas in Trouble. You saw the title of the video, didn't you? How was my Jack in the Box order? It was quite tasty. Thank you for asking. So with those burning questions out of the way, why don't we go ahead and jump into the history section of Thomas in Trouble. So just like last week with Edward and Gordon, we actually have a little bit more history here with Thomas in Trouble. Because, just like with Edward and Gordon, this came out in 2013, but we do have a mastering date of February 19th, 2013, a day after Edward and Gordon's mastering date. However, we have a second mastering date, April 20th, 2004, for the Malaysian VCD release of this. Yeah, just like last week, Thomas in Trouble got a release on VCD in the Philippines and in Malaysia. It did have a different title, though, in both of those countries. In Malaysia, it was retitled to Toby and the Stout Gentleman and Other Thomas Adventures. And then in the Philippines, it was retitled The Flying Kipper. The second title actually makes more sense for this. We'll talk about that later. Again, so crazy to me that Thomas VCDs exist. There are some of these floating around out there on the secondary market that I've never seen in person or for sale on eBay. I've seen pictures of them on the wiki here, but never for sale over on eBay or any other marketplace or anything like that. I'd love to get my hands on one though. Although VCD quality can be a little bit iffy. I've seen some videos of some comparisons between VCD, Laserdisc, and even VHS, and the VCD is clearly the one that has the just absolute worst quality out of those three formats. Be kind of cool if we got to cover VCDs here on Home Media Reviews. If anyone has any links to them, or any of you guys have any you want to sell, let me know. But that wraps things up for the history section. Why don't we move right along to the close-up. Alrighty everyone, here's your close-up look at Thomas in Trouble. Up here at the top, treat size introduces. We've seen that for the last 2 weeks. Are you sick of it yet? Tom's Friends logo, Thomas in Trouble, includes 6 fantastic episodes. Last week was pretty offensive due to the fact that they didn't even get the characters right on the front cover. This one at least is somewhat competent. At least Thomas is on the front cover. Toby, though? Another promo shot? Why? I don't know. These were apparently the only assets they had available, was a bunch of promo stuff that they took around the time of filming of seasons 8 or 9. I don't know. I'm probably getting that horrendously wrong. But these were the only assets that this company apparently had access to. I mean, again, at least they got Thomas on the front. We've got the UK ratings down there. Entertainment Alliance logo. Again, I will not miss you after finishing this part of the season. Here on the spine, Thomas in Trouble. We've got the UK ratings as well as the product number. And the back. If you weren't already sick of this, here's the promo shot in all of its glory. And then the blurb about just the episode Thomas in Trouble. Okay, so Toby is in this release because Dirty Objects is on here. Oh, and so is Toby and the Stout Gentleman. Okay, so at least this one is somewhat competent. The photo's not from the same era, but at least you got the characters right. That makes some logical sense. And then the bottom, of course, has the link to the Thomas and Friends website, as well as tech specs, ratings, and barcode. I don't even feel the need to show you the disc at this point, because you guys know what it looks like. It's the exact same disc as we've seen the last 2 weeks. It's just that reflective gray look. So that wraps things up for the close-up. Let's move right along to the menu tour. Alrighty everyone, here's your not quite menu tour for Thomas in Trouble. You guys know the drill at this point. Third time is apparently not the charm with these treat-sized DVDs, Thomas in Trouble doesn't have a menu. And just like the previous 2 weeks, it starts with a copyright disclaimer, a hit logo, the engine roll call, another hit logo, and then we jump straight into the release. And again, just like the previous 2 weeks, I'll go ahead and prove this to you so someone on Twitter doesn't try to, quote, expose me for being a fraud. Playback menu, title menu, hit DVD menu there, boom, give it a second to load. And if I hit play down here in the corner, Britt Allcroft logo. So folks, that wraps things up for your menu tour. These menu tours have been so short the last couple of weeks. I feel like I'm a little spoiled here. Let's go ahead and head on back and answer the 5 main questions as always. Alright, so we're back from the close-up. Now it's time to answer the 5 main questions as always. Number 1, where can you pick this product up? I don't think this one's the rarest out of the 3 of these. This one might be the most common. I've seen this one pop up quite a few times over on eBay. But again, it's always from a seller in the UK. It's never already imported into the US. So it's always extraordinarily expensive. But yeah, you can find this on eBay every now and then. Number 2, is this product still being printed nowadays? Hell no. Number 3, should you pick this product up? I feel like I don't need to explain this, but I'm going to anyway. I like Season 1. My opinions on all of these episodes haven't changed much. These are just fun little thoughts that popped into my head while I was watching them for this HMR. So we start things off with The Flying Kipper. 3rd release in a row where the title episode doesn't come first. I am very angry about this. You can clearly hear that in my voice. Can you hear how mad I am? What do you mean I sound tired? I'm not tired. You're tired. The visuals in this episode are beautiful. Every shot looks like it was taken directly out of a storybook. There's a reason that this is everyone's favorite episode from Season 1. Obviously, I have to point out how great the crash is, treated with actual seriousness and not just some trivial thing. So just like the last 2 weeks, the title episode comes next, right? No, Whistles and Sneezes is next. An episode I actually never saw as a young kid. I just assumed that line at the end of The Flying Kipper was never followed up on. They often see him pulling the express. He does it so well that Gordon is jealous. But that's another story. My child brain never had that question answered. I didn't see this episode until I got the Best of Gordon later on in childhood. I've always liked how this episode shifts main characters. Gordon is kind of the focus of the first half, and then Henry takes up the second. It always stood out as unique to me, because I don't remember any other episode in the show shifting perspectives like this. Ringo actually attempts a slight yell when Gordon arrives at Knapford Station and he's reading Topham's line. "Take him away!" he bellowed. As opposed to Carlin's, "Take him away!" Like, it's kind of a yell, but not really. You don't really raise your voice all that much. Although Carlin doesn't really need to raise his voice. He kind of always sounds like he's got a lot of authority behind his voice whenever he speaks. Those boys that dropped stones on Henry's coaches, though, they should have been charged with something. I like the tit-for-tat story here, but if someone was seriously hurt by that, like in the original Railway series story, the law needs to be involved there. Surely the next episode is the title one, right? Ha! Ha! You're funny. No, it's Toby and the Stout Gentleman. I forgot how much Toby's theme absolutely slaps. It's one of the best themes from this entire season. The children came every day for a fortnight. Does that mean those kids are fans of Fortnite? I myself am a bit of a fan of that game. Not to brag or anything, but I did get all the rewards on the latest Star Wars Battle Pass. I love how at the end of the UK dub, the narrator mentions how if he tells you what's in that letter, he'd spoil the next story. That's kind of a fun little detail that was omitted from the US dub. Oh, thank God, we're finally at the title episode, Thomas in Trouble. This episode teaches kids that some people are just assholes. That policeman woke up with a chip on his shoulder and takes it out on poor Thomas. My parents still talk about the line, "He wrote regular lawbreaker in his book." Not sure why that line stuck with them after all these years, but they still think it's funny. No funny butler voice? Terrible dub. "Excuse me, sir, you're wanted on the telephone." Like, that's just perfect. Come on, Ringo, you couldn't have even attempted that. I do love, though, how Thomas warms up to Toby, because Toby engages in mischief. Thomas might have grown up at this point in the timeline, but he's still got that mischievous kid side that hasn't quite been kicked yet. Next up is one of my personal favorite episodes from Season 1. It's Dirty Objects. The tar wagon crash has stuck with me ever since I was a kid. It's the one that I would recreate a lot with my wooden railway toys. I didn't have any tankers growing up, though, so I would use other engines' tenders for tankers. Don't judge, I had to use cargo cars for the train James was pulling, because that was the piece of rolling stock that looked most like the freight cars in the episode. And last but most certainly not least, another personal favorite of mine, Off the Rails. You guys think I didn't like this episode? I remade it. Come on, of course I like it. I like how it acknowledges continuity with the line about the flying kipper. And Henry's fat face line should have been kept in the US dub. Beep, 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 beep. "Hello, fat face," said Henry. Not sure why Gordon chooses to sleep on a siding that close to the station. You'd think he would want the privacy of a shed. But I guess in a railway realism sense, they'd keep him on that siding just in case he was needed. Thomas in Trouble actually has the most accurate artwork in this entire treat-size miniseries we've done here. The title episode is actually the one where Thomas and Toby meet for the first time, so having both Thomas and Toby on the front cover makes sense. And hey, the collection of stories, not half bad either, including two of my favorites from Season 1. Do you think I was going to say no to this one? Absolutely, I recommend Thomas in Trouble. Number 4, where should you pick this product up? Well, same answers as number 1. And number 5, what price should you pay? Same answers as the last 2 weeks. I wouldn't go over 15 for this guy. Well, folks, that wraps things up for the HMR for Thomas in Trouble. Is this the best one of the treat size collection? I feel like it might be, because the artwork actually makes sense. Kind of a low bar, I know. But hey, this is a well-deserved win. It didn't put like James and Percy on the front cover or some stupid thing like that, so... Next week, my friends, is a bittersweet week, because it's the season finale week. And I have to go back to Hit Era Thomas things. I love torturing myself for your enjoyment. Because next week is another season. Season 11. This one I know for sure I haven't seen all of, because I don't think all of it was released over here in the US. I'd actually seen a fair amount of Season 10. I was surprised by that, but this one I know I didn't see all of this back when Thomas and Friends Home Media Reviews was running regularly here on YouTube. Don't cry your eyes out yet, dear viewer. We still have one more week of this show left, and it's a big episode next week. Another close to 5-hour watch for me. Oh boy. Can you tell how excited I am? I hope you guys are hyped up for that. I will see you all next week for the complete Season 11. Good night, everybody.